Broadcasting live. It's America's longest running talk show on computers. It's Computer America, bringing you the biggest names in technology with guest interviews, new products, and your emails. Listen live at computeramerica.com on any device around the world. Email the show at live@computeramerica.com or find us on social media. Be sure to check out our website for contests, giveaways, show notes, live video stream, podcasts, and more. You're listening to Computer America.
Hello and welcome into the Computer America Show. We are the nation's longest running, nationally syndicated radio talk show on computers and technology. I hope all of you are having a great day so far, and we can make it a little bit better with today's program. By the way, I am your host, Ben Crossman, and we have, of course, a great show as we have on with us, or at least we will, Prosoft Engineering. That's right. They're a company dedicated to, backups and system security and, things like that with, of course, and their namesake being, all American customer support. And hey, I know that a lot of people really enjoy that. It's always nice to, hear a friendly, intelligible voice on the other end of the line. So with that being said, we're going to have the CEO on in just a moment. But before we get to that, a few things, including computeramerica.com. That's where you'll find anything and everything to do with today's show. Be that, links to our guest website, be that, just about any, links to our guest website, any articles that we do later on in the news portion, any videos that we show, anything like that will be available in the show notes. So if you are preoccupied, hey, don't worry, we have you covered. Also, be sure to check out the contest, which we will be giving away another prize this Friday. And hey, we could be reading your name live on the air. It's free to enter, easy to enter. And hey, there's a great prize from Logitech waiting for you, just possibly. And let's see. I think the last thing, why don't we talk about the video portion where, it's not just audio anymore. That's right. We are working with video and a little bit cut off, but yeah, we're working with video and trying to, not replace the audio, but augment it and add to it. So feel free to check that out at computeramerica.com right there, live stream, and of course can be live streamed on YouTube. So with all of that said, why don't we jump into some computer technology news while we wait for our guests to, come online and connect. It should be a fun time, and yeah, shouldn't be waiting too long. So before we do anything else, why don't we go ahead and sandwich our interview with some computer and technology news. That's right, brought to you by Fire Dragon Security. So here we go. All right, so why don't we start off with something, a little bit different, but admittedly still awesome. And this is going to be from The Independent. That's right. It's a United Kingdom publication, and check it out. So, friends of the show, they've been on a number of times, and we definitely enjoy having them on. But Dyson, of all people, they are, they make vacuum cleaners. They make very good vacuum cleaners. They're actually, kind of my favorite. But looks like they're looking to get into the electric vehicle market. That's right. The people that make vacuum cleaners are going to launch an electric-powered vehicle in 2020. Folks, that's not even 3 years away. That's like 2 years and 2 months away. And to think that they can, it's not easy to start up an electric vehicle company because, hey, it's a car company with technology, and you have to set up a lot of different parts. So check it out. Again, this from The Independent, Mr. Atif Sullivan. And Dyson has confirmed, official, that it will launch a battery-powered electric car in 2020. So the vacuum cleaner company will spend about $2 billion on a project, and that says its vehicles will be radical and different. and they promise the same thing with their vacuum cleaners. And what Dyson came out with the bagless, with just has the tank and the special kind of suction and the giant rolly ball. A lot of people have definitely copied it and tried to reproduce what they did, and some do so very, very well. But to call Dyson's vacuums revolutionary, yeah, I would kind of give them that one. But to think that they can do it with the car market, that's a much taller order. So, and they have a quote here saying that we've started building an exceptional team that combines top Dyson engineers with talented individuals from the automotive industry, and that the team is already over 400 strong, and we are recruiting aggressively. What we like to hear. And this is also, this is a letter from the CEO saying that I'm committing to investing 2 billion euros, or no, I'm sorry, pounds. Yeah, 2 billion pounds on this endeavor. Very, very ambitious. So the project will grow quickly from here, but at this stage, we will not release any information. Competition for new technology in the automotive industry is fierce. That's right. And we must do everything we can to keep our specifics of our vehicle confidential. So they're not wanting to, release too much information, but obviously they are working towards it. So, and they said that the company will be entering a crowded market because Tesla, Nissan, BMW, and more. I mean, Mercedes just pledged $1.3 billion for their electric vehicle. It's definitely awesome to hear. Oh, one second, folks. So, yeah, and they just pledged $1.6 billion a year. It's, definitely what you want to see. And so let's see. So according to Sir James, the team at his company began to work on a cyclonic filter that could be fitted to a vehicle's exhaust system to trap particles back in March 1990. So I guess with that, they're not trying to say that the vehicles are going to be glorified vacuum cleaners, but instead that the vehicles are going to be, how do you put it? They're not new to technology in cars. They've worked on things like this before. So and again the quote continues, at this moment we finally have the opportunity to bring all our technologies together into a single project, saying that rather than filtering emissions at the exhaust, today we have the ability to solve it at the source. That means that, hey, right out of the engine. So they are saying that, citing a study at King's College London, he added that thousands of people die every year in the capital alone due to long-term exposure to air pollution. And again, that's one of the big benefits of electric vehicles: no exhaust whatsoever. So I'm not saying that there's no exhaust for the electricity that charges the batteries, because obviously that would be handled at the power plant, power generation source, be it wind, solar, or even gas, coal, what have you. But it's much more efficient to do so at a large plant than it is in every single combustion engine in every car. So pretty cool to hear. And Dyson, they when you think radical, yeah, I think Dyson can do just that. So yeah, there you have it. And we'll definitely see. I don't think that they're going to be street sweepers. I don't think they're going to be giant rolly balls that work like their vacuums. But they're promising something different than your traditional 4-door, 2-door sedan. So can't wait to see what they finally come out with. And it just shows that any, between Google, which is a search ad and a search engine ad revenue company, to Tesla, which was obviously electric cars, to just, it seems like almost any company that has part of itself invested in technology, well, they're looking to invest into cars and self-driving cars. They know it's a big field, and a lot of companies are definitely trying to get behind it. So, with that being said, and still waiting for our guest. So, and folks, if we don't have a Prosoft engineer, if unfortunately for some reason we are not able to get them, we'll definitely reschedule them in the near future, and we'll definitely get them on. So sometimes this happens, and hey, you gotta roll with the punches. So there you go, Dyson, and yeah, we'll see what they come up with. All right, all right, all right. Now, there are a lot of great stories, and this is actually good because there were a number of them that I wanted to get to. And, folks, let me be serious here for just a little bit. And this is, oh, I take that back. This is our guest, I believe. So, Greg, is that you?
This is correct, yes.
Yeah, hi, Greg. There we go. So, everyone, welcoming into Computer America, this is Greg Brewer himself. He is the CEO of course, Prosoft Engineering. Happy to get him on. And, Greg, how are you doing?
I'm doing great. Thank you for having me on again. It's always a good pleasure to be online with you guys.
Yeah, no, no, no. It's great, and of course, better late than never. And so, with that being said, why don't we just kick things off and start with the basics. Tell us a bit about yourself, how you got started in the tech field, and tell us about ProSoft Engineering.
Okay, great. Yeah, that's a long story about how I got started since I've been here since the beginning of time. But yeah, I got started, gosh, it's right out of high school. I worked for Activision and made video games and all that kind of thing, beginning of the kind of the computer revolution, as we used to call it. And almost immediately, within 1 year, started a consulting company to help other people develop products and things for various platforms. And the company grew. I ended up a few years later with 60 engineers working for me. We worked with every major company in Silicon Valley, developing computer software, a lot of low end kind of stuff like device drivers and things like that, which eventually led to us having a product line, including hard drive utilities and device drivers and data recovery. That is what we're most well known for now, the Data Rescue suite,
Hmm.
and Drive Genius backup utilities and data backup, etc. But it was a lot of work all these years, and we've been at the beginning of the you've been here since the beginning of the Mac kind of revolution, and it's good to still be here and enjoying all the new things that the world is offering us.
Absolutely. And I'm sure that your business is ever booming because hey, more and more data that we're all generating from these different devices and the idea of having a backup not just for your computer but for your phone and many different systems, obviously that's where you want to be. So, why don't we talk about, kind of what's new because, obviously Data Rescue, you can find that there. We have a link to prosoftent.com. But, tell us what's new about this. And as I understand it, obviously you said the Mac revolution. You're getting back into Windows, aren't you?
Yeah, just by necessity that that platform is such a large platform, and with all of the changes going on over at Apple, a lot of people relying more on iCloud and preserving their data in different ways. There's honestly fewer and fewer people losing data on that platform. Now that's not something that's very common on the PC. That transition is not very common on the PC. There's still a lot of work to be done on the PC side. So for the first time ever in history, we are sharing code bases between Mac and PC products. So the benefit of that for our PC users is, we have, more than 20 years of experience doing these utilities like data recovery and backup utilities. And all of that experience was rolled into our Mac platforms. Now, everything we learn there plus more is going to benefit the PC market, because now we're actually sharing code base between the two machines. Very consistent user interface from one platform to the other, which is friendly to our customers that are dual platform customers. Have
Mm-hmm.
a PC at work and a Mac at home. That's not uncommon. And the testing that we've done shows that people are really greatly appreciative of that and really being able to rely on the consistency that we offer through our products.
So, and this is just kind of my personal kind of thinking, but how important? And actually, you should answer it this way: um, is it still important to keep up to date current backups, good backups in a day and age when like you said, we have things like the iCloud. A lot of services are cloud based. A lot of services, you sign in from any computer anywhere, and they have all of your settings and information saved, on their servers. Are healthy backups and kind of recurring backups, are they as important as they were 5, 10, 15 years ago?
They are to me, and they should be to a lot of people, and primarily. I'll give you a scenario where it's actually a very important thing. If you rely on the cloud, you AWS or iCloud or anything to save your data, um, when you have a computer catastrophe, and you're going to, because that happens, if you are only cloud-based, it's going to take many hours or days, if not weeks, to recover the data back onto your computer. It's not a very fast way of doing it when you're going over the internet. And at my house, I have like 250 megabits a second network connection. But even then, I don't want to recover 1 or 2 terabytes of data over that line. So doing it locally to a local hard drive is at least 10 times faster, and probably more in most cases. And you don't want that downtime. You can't afford to have a week downtime of your computer, or several days of downtime, or even several hours of downtime. People like myself, I get frustrated very quickly if the computer's not responding to me as fast as I want it to, and I'm sure that's shared by a lot of the listeners out there. But the the speed of recovery is so much greater. I recommend people have both. I recommend going ahead and having a cloud backup for the case of emergency where your local backup has failed as well as your internal hard drive. And believe me, that's a very commonplace thing. Or somebody thinks they're doing a local backup and there really is they're not. And then when they try to recover or restore from that backup in the future, there's no data on it. That's happened hundreds of times. And then we see that drive, that customer's computer, in our data recovery lab, the data rescue center out here in Livermore, California. It happens a lot, and we see that daily. That kind of thing happening.
Right.
But do the local backups, do cloud backups, and then you get your you've always heard people say you want an on-site backup and an off-site backup. That covers both bases, just in case there's a major catastrophe going on in your world.
Right. Yeah. No. Very, very, very good advice, and certainly something to obviously think about. So yeah, let's talk about obviously the Surface itself. Now that there's a Windows client, for those of us who maybe have not heard of data backup, and from Prosoft Engineering, I mean, tell us about the Surface. Is it easy to use? How do you use it? That kind of thing. Just give us an overview of the service.
Data backup is a software utility that allows you to do local backups. We haven't enabled cloud backups yet. There's a lot of good offerings out there for that. We're not sure we want to be in that business at this time, but we're really providing users with a very powerful local backup engine that's very fast. You can do a number of things with it that you can't do with cloud backups. For example, one of the really most important things that we get the most of our users commenting on is our ability to make bootable clone backups of your boot drive. Again, it comes down to how much downtime do you want. If your internal drive crashes, if my internal drive crashes, I have an incremental bootable clone of my internal drive, and I will be back and running in 10 seconds.
Hmm.
Most people who are doing, say, a time machine backup or something like that, especially if it's over the wire to iCloud, they're not going to be up and running anytime soon. It's going to take a number of hours just to get the basic system up and running again. So we offer that feature, the clone backups, so that when your internal hard drive goes down, go ahead and just boot from your backup drive while you're repairing or installing a new system in your original drive, or getting a new drive, or whatever it is that you're doing. So that's a fantastic feature. That's a great feature. All of our backup features in this product are all available as both complete overwrite and also incremental. Incremental backups are much like what Time Machine does. It only writes the changes to your hard drive. One of the fundamental differences between data backup and Time Machine is we back up in your normal file sort of configuration. So if
Yeah.
you look at our backups, the drive that you're backing up to is going to look like a normal drive. You're going to see all your files instead of just a container file that has a lot of compressed and compacted data. For something like Time Machine and most every other backup utility out there, you can actually go and look at our backup and just drag and drop the one file that you happen to have deleted or something like that. You can do that very easily, very intuitively, because that's what you're used to doing as a user in a Windows or Mac kind of environment.
That is super, super cool because I kind of did that myself. Like I had a hard drive and I upgraded it to a fancy schmancy, new SSD, and trying it not like the old one didn't crash. The old one wasn't bad, but just trying to transfer the data from one to the other, was such a headache that I accidentally wiped it maybe about twice. Just through pure arrogance and that kind of thing. So it definitely can happen. Are there any tools for transferring from a healthy drive to another drive that you're trying to, just kind of swap out?
Um, well, you could do that with a clone backup. We support that feature. So you're looking at really kind of a, ideally you would want a migration assistant kind of thing to do
Right.
that, because if you are going to a new drive, it's really best to get a brand new copy of the operating system and redo all your preferences files and things like that. We've all experienced this, that over the years, if we don't do that, we just upgrade and add new applications and upgrade some more. We end up with a lot of old stuff in there, and eventually you start seeing your computer slowing down and things like that. Just the file system struggles to keep up with there's hundreds of thousands, of files, involved in just the most basic system. I think if you install in the Mac, in Apple's case, you install a Mac operating system. If you look how many files are on that drive when it's done, there's almost 1 million files in there.
Mm.
So, that's, you don't want that plus the million from the last system too.
Okay.
It starts taking a toll on the performance of your computer. So it's good to use a migration assistant. That's why they did it. Install a new operating system that says, hey, you want your data and documents and applications from your previous user. You say yes, and all that stuff gets transferred over. And just the things that you need, the stuff that's already there, doesn't get transferred over. So it's a fairly efficient thing. And I recommend to everybody that does a hard drive upgrade to do that kind of a hard drive upgrade.
All right. No, very, very good point. So, and I hate to hammer you on this, but could you kind of explain again really quickly? I mean, a lot of services are going into the cloud, and you mentioned that you probably weren't, and probably were not looking into going into the cloud. Is this because things like recently Equifax and many other companies, when you store customers' data, you run the risk of losing it, you run the risk of mishandling it. Not only that, but there's a whole infrastructure cost of storing and transferring data. I mean, are those some of the reasons you didn't want to do cloud backup?
It's not that we don't want to do cloud backup; it just hasn't been our priority. And as you pointed out, thanks for doing that. We've heard from our existing users that one of the main reasons that people use a local backup, it's not for the reason that I specified, that you want a local copy and a remote copy for expediency, but they use their local backup because they're afraid of having a remote backup. They don't know whose eyes are getting to see their credit card statements and all of those things. If Equifax can be hacked, as well as the FBI and the CIA, and every single organization in our country has been hacked at one time or another, wherever you're trusting your backup to is guaranteed is going to be hacked at some point. So there's power in anonymity. If people don't know who you are, they don't know who your data, who this data belongs to. In general, they're not going to be, sifting through every single, byte of data that they can hack their way into. It's just too time consuming. So you're kind of safe in that regard. But the security of your data is important and is a concern to people. Now, I have another concern about security of data, and maybe this is it shouldn't be a real concern, but it does linger in the back of my mind.
Yeah.
What happens when a lot of people use a lot of companies in the back office, they're using Amazon's AWS service to store data, and there's a number of other companies that they use, but this is one of the more competitive ones. What happens if they have a problem they go down, or what happens if the company that's using AWS loses their contract with them, or maybe they fell behind on their bills? Who knows what can happen, or a policy change or a political change or anything happens, and now suddenly your data is gone. So you don't have an
You
account anymore.
you
If you
and
don't have a local copy of it, your data is gone. And I have read of stories where that exact thing has happened.
you
So
say that
that's a little concerning.
you say that that maybe it shouldn't be a concern, but I mean we saw that I think earlier this year when Amazon Web Services, AWS for everyone else, they, they did have a problem on their side. I think it was just a technical glitch, but for like 12 hours, the entire East Coast, kind of lost, their services, for everything from obviously Amazon to flights to hotels to blah, blah, blah. I mean, yeah, we saw what happens when you put too many eggs in one basket. You lose billions of dollars in productivity over the course
Yeah.
of a day. It certainly can happen. So good point there.
Yeah, yeah. So that is one of my concerns. I do believe in the two-tiered backup, policy specifically for that. I would never just trust a remote backup solution like that. Now,
Right.
I have another specialty need of my own. I'm a kind of a movie buff, and over the years, I've collected a lot of videos, and I backed them up on my server. But I have 12 terabytes of movies. I'm not going to
Oof.
back that up to AWS. It's not, it would be too costly for me to do that. So that is, would be the same where any small company or something that's accumulated a lot of data. It's very difficult to pay that bill, to back up something that's charged, per megabyte or gigabyte. So, and that's a a charge that will never go away. Once you start doing it,
Yeah.
I'm guessing as a business person, that charge is only going to go up over time, not down.
Right. And so, just real quick, and we're gonna try to wrap this up in the next couple of minutes. But uh, tell us about the different options. I'm looking here on your website, and when watching the video portion, can see it here. You have your standard with additional storage, which I assume that means you send them something, and then you have family package. What are the different tiers of your service here?
Yeah, the standard package is, you go ahead and buy the software and you start using it on drives that you have. I'm not looking at my computer right now.
Right.
But the with additional storage, we actually sell hard drives. We partner with some of the major hard drive manufacturers, and we have some great deals on hard drives. If you need a backup utility, you definitely are going to need external storage as well. If you don't already have that storage, we offer some storage at great deals. And it's easy to do a single click on our website. You get the download software immediately, and the storage will come to you in the next day or so when we send it to you. And there's, of course, I don't know if you're seeing them on the screen that you
It's
have,
the
but there's different licensing provisions as well for
right.
whether it be an individual user or a corporate user with lots of seats and stuff like that. So,
Right. Standard seems to be just for the one computer, which would be, fine for any individual, and then family if you have 5 computers, and then I'm sure you contact, Prosoft Engineering if you need to, get 100 or so licenses for an entire office. So makes perfect sense.
exactly.
Um,
And
uh,
all of those
Go ahead.
multi-license things, there are many, many big companies that have enterprise licenses, and those are all negotiated on a per company basis, depending on how many users they have.
Right. And so I'll leave the audience with this, but obviously, you guys are not standing still. You've jumped back into Microsoft, but you're still supporting Mac. It still seems to be a big focus for you. What's coming up next for ProSoft Engineering, just in the next year or so?
Well, we have there's a lot of changes going on right now on the Mac platform since the new operating system changes this week. So we're working hard right now to become fully compatible with with that new operating system. We have a new version. You're the first to hear about it. A new version of Data Rescue. That's Data Rescue 5, coming out next week, I believe.
Neat.
And this is also on our new cross-platform source base. So the code is identical between the Mac and the PC, which gives you a couple of interesting options. For example, your Mac can recover PC data as well as Mac data. It can recover your drive containers or boot camp files and things like that. It can recover everything, both Mac and PC. And similarly, on the PC version, we'll be able to do the same thing, both Mac and PC. That's, I think, it's a milestone that I don't know that anybody's shipping a product like that right now. And we have some new changes coming up with Drive Genius that I think are going to be appealing. Within the next several months, we're going to have some really cool things happening with Drive Genius that I think people are going to be excited about. We can't get into yet because we're not sure on the timeline
Right.
we're going to release them.
Right. So yeah, no, and of course we'd love to have you back on to talk about Drive Genius. We'll keep everyone up to date for obviously the new version of let's see, Data Rescue that you're gonna have out. And
Yeah.
Greg, I want to say thank you so much for taking time to join us. This is great, and yeah, looking forward to having you back on.
Great. Look forward to it too. Keep me posted when you want to fit me in, and we'll talk about the new products.
Will do. All right. Drive safe. Everyone else.
Okay.
And there you go. So everyone, that is once again Prosoft Engineering. Check them out. Link in our show notes. Computer America. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
We are all Brother Wolf. 10 years ago, a group of locals. All Brother Wolf. 10 years ago, a group of locals banded together to create positive change. We took animals into our homes, held adoption events at local retailers, and talked to the community about our mission to help build a no-kill Asheville. A decade later, we have achieved so many victories for animals in need. There's been so much progress, yet there's still so much to do. As part of our year-long celebration, we encourage you to become a member of our special Compassionate Circle program. With a monthly donation of $10 or more, you will have behind-the-scenes access to the work we are doing at Brother Wolf. Our goal is to reach 1,000 members because we receive no government funding. Working together, we can help build and sustain no-kill communities. Learn more at compassionatecircle.bwar.org. We are a 501c3 tax-deductible organization.
And welcome back to the Computer America Show. So, yeah, we were able to squeeze them in, and we will, of course, keep you up to date with Data Rescue 5. It sounds like, obviously more and more people, they are using Mac for work, or they're using Mac for pleasure, and then they're using a PC elsewhere. No longer are people really given the luxury, in a lot of scenarios, to either use one or the other operating system. If you work around computers a lot, you're obviously using both quite often. So with that being said, it sounds like Prosoft Engineering has been working on, fixing data and fixing data between the two, because just because you use both doesn't mean that your data should be as segregated as you think. So there you go. And again, links and more over at computeramerica.com. Now, why don't we get back to computer and technology news? And so, just before then, we were about to talk, about to get a bit serious. And by a bit serious, I mean that there's a new way companies are making money off of, their guests. And I promise Computer America does not do this, but we have been hearing this is a growing problem and something that you should pay attention to, because for those of you who do not know, well, there's a problem with the current there's a problem with the current revenue model of the internet. And it's the fact that ads are paying less and less. So companies that are strictly reliant on ad revenue are seeing their, not just profits, but in a lot of cases, just the money that they need to maintain their infrastructure and their, and their services, they just don't have the revenue anymore. So they have to come up with other ways. And, it's not always as easy as as say, well, just get more people looking at your ads. It's not that simple. So companies have taken to an alternative, which is they take essentially they hide snippets of code in their web services. And it's generally best for services that have you sitting on one page for a while. And we're going to talk about a story today, this one about CBS. And, CBS Showtime, obviously, if you're watching it through a browser, you may have paid for cable and you get the service through the internet browser, blah, blah, blah. And you may be sitting there watching a half hour, 2 half-hour programs sitting on one page. Well, companies have figured out that they can do something without your consent and a little devious. And it's essentially little snippets of code that they hide in the back end. You don't do anything, you don't see anything, but it can cost you system performance and it can cost you data on the back end. And yeah, they are mining cryptocurrency while their viewers are watching videos. And this just in, CBS Showtime. At least, the Showtime services, Showtime has their own instant access, web service. Showtime is doing it. So it's not just small dark corner alleys of the internet. No, this is one of the big players in streaming video. And yeah, they have, I'm going to say it, they've sunk into that level. So this coming to us from the Register, saying that CBS's Showtime caught mining crypto coins in viewers' web browsers, and this can cause a whole host of problems, none of which you even have to get into the ethics of it all to kind of say, hey, you shouldn't be doing that. So saying that so they're saying that the websites of the U.S. telecommunication giant CBS Showtime contained JavaScript that secretly commandeered viewers' web browsers over the weekend to mine cryptocurrency, and that the flagship Showtime.com and its instant access ShowtimeAnytime.com sibling silently pulled in code that caused browsers to blow spare processor time calculating new Monero coins. Monero being an offshoot of, kind of like Bitcoin, but not Bitcoin. Anyways, a privacy-focused alternative to the ever-popular Bitcoin. There you go. The hidden software typically consumed as much as 60% of CPU capacity on the computers visiting the site. And if you think, oh, well, whatever, I wasn't using that anyways, first of all, that can cause your system to run slower, seem laggier, and cause problems. And second of all, when you put on that kind of load, when you put on a 60% increase load on your CPU, make no qualms about it. That's electricity. That's costing you money. And hey, if you're an avid watcher, it can really add up over time that they're essentially using your electricity to make them money. And they said that the scripts were written by CodeHive, a legit outfit that provides JavaScript to website owners, and webmasters add the code to their pages so that they can earn slivers of cash for each visitor as an alternative to serving adverts to generate revenue. And like I said, this is a little devious, but it's a growing problem, and we're going to tell you how to fix it here in just a moment. But just know it's not just weird small companies doing this. No, this is going to become more and more popular. So they said that over time, money mined by the CodeHive hosted scripts add up and is transferred from CoinHive to the site's administrators. And one Monero coin is worth about $92. So, and they're obviously using this currency called Monero. First of all, crypto, it's great. I'm sure people love that, you don't know where it's coming from or things like that. But it's also to the fact that it's much, much easier to mine a portion of a smaller coin than it is a Bitcoin. A Bitcoin would take a lot more time and a lot more resources to get one Bitcoin, even though it's worth, 15 times as much, or, at this point, like, 30, 40 times as much. It would still take, way more than 30, 40 times as much time to mine one coin. So they're using an alternative. Anyways, they said that it's extremely unlikely that a large corporation like CBS would smuggle such a piece of mining code into its .coms, especially since it charges subscribers to watch the hit TV shows online, suggesting that someone hacked the website source code to insert the mining and JavaScript to make a quick buck. All right, yeah, I can see that. I was thinking, this is devious, underhanded. I stand by that. And it does seem out of place for CBS. So let's hope that they finally, it finally does, turn out to be that someone else has been doing this. So the JavaScript, which appeared on the sites at the start of the weekend and vanished by Monday, sits between HTML comment tags that appear to be inserts from the web analytics business New Relic. And they said that it is unlikely that an analytics company would deliberately stash coin mining scripts onto its customers' pages, so the code must have come from another source. And yeah, that's right. They said that ore was injected by miscreants who had compromised Showtime systems. It's kind of like ransomware, but instead of holding you hostage, it's surreptitious and it doesn't let you know. And, they have a couple of screenshots with the code here. If anyone there is prolific at code or at least knows what this is, there you have it. And it's a simple little, again, JavaScript that is coinhive.com. And yeah, all the variables are there. It's anonymous. And again, essentially setting every browser to mine them. And so, with that being said, they said that they've contacted both the companies, at least the Register did, asking for more details, and Showtime refused to comment, whereas New Relic told us it had nothing to do with the mystery code. And yeah, so there you have it. Now, the article goes on for a bit more, talking about how the Pirate Bay may be involved and things like that. But essentially, the current ad revenue is having a problem, and right now, at least for CBS, it looks like it may have been someone who compromised the system and was taking advantage of the opportunity. But at the same time, we've seen other companies, maybe not as large as CBS, but other companies essentially do the same thing, maybe not being so blatant about it, but taking their customers' CPU and essentially mining Bitcoin for the duration of them being on their site. And, it's probably not that lucrative, but at this point, neither is ad revenue. So it's probably comparable, and if not augmenting an already, slender market. So there is a solution, and if you go, if you have Firefox, if you have Chrome, if you have one of these browsers that has these plugins, they're called plugins, there is a cryptocurrency blocking add-on. It's kind of like AdBlock, but it's like CryptoBlock or something along those lines. I don't have the name exactly in front of me, but it prevents anyone, legit or surreptitious, from mining Bitcoins via your browser. Definitely recommend you get it. It's probably a growing threat. It's not as large, absolutely, but it's going to continue. And you don't want your electricity, your computer running slow and suffering because someone found a way to make a quick buck off of your browsing habits. So check that out, cryptocurrency blocker plugin, Google something like that, and you should be able to install it. It costs you nothing, and hey, it could save you a lot of headache. There you have it. All right, so that was us being serious here for just a moment, telling you about a new threat. And, well, why don't we get into... All right, how about something a little more fun, easygoing? All right, yeah, we have this one here. So, for those of you who do not know, there is a new Star Trek app. Yep, there's a new Star Trek app, and it's called Star Trek Discovery. And the reason you might not have heard about it is because, well, it's behind, hey, ding, 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 CBS's, streaming service. And it finally broke, of all metrics to use, it finally broke the top 20 Pirate Bay's most pirated list. So Star Trek Discovery is getting pirated a lot. This is coming from Ars Technica, Mr. Timothy Lee. And they said that the first 2 episodes of Discovery are both among the 20 most pirated TV shows. That's pretty cool. I was a huge fan of Star Trek Voyager. I didn't really watch too much of, The Next Generation or the original Star Trek. I definitely didn't watch the new one from CBS with that one guy and, Star Trek. Was it Enterprise? Might have been Enterprise. I don't know. But anyways, there's Star Trek 1. It, continued on for a while. I personally didn't think it was too good. I caught 1 or 2 episodes and it was whatever. It was like the younger days of Star Trek. Anyways, there's a new one out and it's exclusively streamed. So if you have traditional cable, if you're used to watching Star Trek on traditional cable, this is why you may not have heard about it. But check it out. The first 2 episodes of the show are both among the 20 most pirated TV shows, where almost 10 million people tuned into CBS on Sunday to watch the premiere of Star Trek Discovery, and the premiere also drove record signups for CBS proprietary streaming service, which will be the exclusive source for later episodes of the Star Trek series. Very, very cool. Glad to see that the appetite for Star Trek isn't gone. Anyways, but others have turned to the good old-fashioned internet piracy to get their Star Trek fix, where the premiere of Star Trek Discovery is the 12th most active pirated show among users among the Pirate Bay right now, according to the Pirate Bay's list. I'll check that out real quick. Game of Thrones, Big Bang Theory. Yeah, Star Trek Discovery. Check that out. It's somewhere up there. But yeah, very, very popular download. And they said that Discovery's second episode isn't far behind at number 19. Wow. So obviously the list is dominated by episodes of Game of Thrones and, of course, the new animated show Rick and Morty. Well, yeah, it's like season 3. But, Rick and Morty. So it's in good popular company. And while the premiere of Discovery was broadcast on CBS's free over-the-air network, later episodes in the first season will be offered exclusively through streaming video service. So CBS hopes that this will help the network build CBS All Access into a top-tier streaming service. But there's a risk that it will simply encourage more people to pirate the flagship show. Which, I have a follow-up story to this that kind of proves, hey, that's not all bad. And they said, especially since some users who signed up for the service have been reporting reliability problems on social media. And they said that Star Trek has long been popular among the file-sharing crowd, where the Star Trek movie was that year's most pirated film. Who knew people who pirate and are proficient in technology are the same ones who, hey, like geeky shows? Wonder if there's any reasoning behind that. All right, so, Star Trek Discovery coming out, check it out. But here's why I wanted to do that, and then immediately followed by this story. And this coming out, this is a study done by the European Union, and it kind of shows what we've long heard and, what a lot of us kind of already knew about the truth about pirating, where it's not an indication of someone who doesn't want to pay your prices for one reason or another. It's just another way to consume information, and it's kind of like a try before you buy thing. At least that's what studies are showing. So here we go. And EU study finds that the piracy doesn't hurt game sales and may actually help. And right now they're kind of focusing on video games, but this study has been done before on movies and DVD sales and Blu-ray sales and, videos. And it found almost the same thing. So they said that for as long as video game piracy has existed, gamers and the industry have argued about whether the practice really hurts sales of legitimate games. That's true. And in 2010, the Business Software Alliance estimated that generalized software piracy cost the world about $51 billion annually and 500,000 jobs. Those are big numbers. But they said that even most people who doubt every pirated download is equivalent to a lost sale will admit that illegal downloads have some negative effect on overall game sales. Which, yeah. So they're saying that it's more than a bit surprising that an exhaustive study of piracy's effects by the European Commission found that illegal consumption of games leads to increased legal consumption. Check that out. Illegal downloads lead to legal downloads. So, to be more precise, the study estimates that for every 100 games that are downloaded illegally, players actually legally obtain 24 more games, including free games, than they would in a world where piracy didn't exist. Now, you may be wondering, how can they know that? Or, how can they control for a world that doesn't exist? And how in-depth are they really getting? Well, if you want to check it out yourself, they have the PDF, and we have this in the show notes too. They have the PDF right there, and it's 306 pages long, full of details that points out a number of caveats for this headline number, and not least of which is a 45% error margin that might make the results less than statistically significant. And that said, they said that the same number finds that piracy has the more expected negative effects in sales. On sales of films and books, singling out games as the one area where piracy really does seem to work differently. And it kind of makes sense for games because, if not everyone is in the business of pirating, and if there's enough of a buzz, if there's enough hype or, information about it swirling around in social media or what have you, if there's enough excitement about a game, whether that comes from a legal or illegally obtained copy, there's going to be more people looking at the game and going, well, I've heard good things. Why don't we try it out? And, hey, they may be one of the people who doesn't mind paying $20, $40, $60 for a game. Makes perfect sense. And they said that, and they have a quote here saying that the positive effect of illegal downloads and streams on the sales of games may be explained by the industry being successful in converting illegal users to paying customers. That's right. They're saying that increased game sales may come from piracy as players get hooked and then pay to play the game in extra bonuses or at extra levels. And when it comes to games, only free games are more likely displaced by online copyright infringement than not. That's right. And they said that people who pirate games seem to use them as replacements for other free games, for other free gaming options, more than for games that they would otherwise buy. So, again, it goes into their methodology, how they did it, things like that, blah, blah, blah. We're not going to get into that. But essentially for games, and they say it doesn't correlate as well into books and movies and things like that. But, I don't know. I hate to just say I believe it does, or my gut says so. But piracy as a whole, I think tracking down, stamping out piracy left and right as much as you can is more of a game of whack-a-mole and is actually hurting any kind of goodwill you would have among your viewers by chasing down those who may be distributing it illegally. I don't know. So at any rate, we have time for maybe one, maybe two more stories here. Let's pick something nice. All right. Okay. And I say that, and then I immediately, decide that this is going to be the best one. So this is a warning for everyone out there who uses online dating. And yeah, so this is for supposedly one of the simplest and least, I say it's simple because it's not that input intensive. And by that, I mean a little company, may have heard of them, called Tinder. And they're an app, they're a company that runs the app that is for online dating. And yeah, it's a very, very simple premise where you connect it to Facebook, and Facebook then, gives you your pictures, things like that, and your location, blah, blah, blah. And then you swipe right or left, depending on the matches that you get, and you make connections, blah, 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 traditional online dating. Well, this, this one of the users, and this author here from Judith Duportail, said that she asked Tinder for her data, and because obviously she lives in the EU, and if you ask for your data, most companies are compelled to give you all the data that they have collected on you, just to see what they have and just to know. They can't keep your data secret from you. Well, get this. Tinder sent her 800 pages just for her. 800 pages of data they've collected on her. And, this is, she says that, the first night of using Tinder was back in December 2013. And they have everything. So over 4 years, they've collected just about 800 pages, 200 pages a year. So, she wrote that, and she wrote that the data app has 800 pages of information on me and probably on you too if you are one of its 50 million users. And get this, in March, she asked Tinder to grant her access to personal data, and every European citizen is allowed to do so under the EU data protection law, and very few actually do. So, with that being said, they said that with the help of privacy activists and a human rights lawyer, she emailed Tinder requesting her personal data and got back way more than she bargained for. And get that, this is the thing that I think is going to scare a lot of people, where you think it'd just be about Tinder, but get this. Some 800 pages came back containing information such as my Facebook likes, my photos from Instagram, even after she deleted the associated account, her education, the age rank of men that she was interested in, and how many times that she connected, when and where every online conversation with every single one of her matches happened, and the list goes on. And get this, this is a data scientist at the University of Washington, saying that I am horrified but absolutely not surprised by the amount of data. Every app you use on your phone owns the same kind of information. Facebook has thousands of pages on you. And, there's a reason that they say data is the new oil. Data and the amount of data and the profiles that you can create on people, you think it's just, kind of what you put in there, what you upload, and it's kind of it. How many pages can they have on you? But he's right, the data scientist from the University of Washington, Facebook takes every little piece of data, piles it into useful trends, and then markets that to back to you, from marketing companies. So no detail is too small, and yeah, they have their fingers in a lot of pies. And she says that as she flicked through page after page of her data, she felt guilty. She was amazed by how much information I was voluntarily disclosing, from locations, interests, and jobs to pictures, music tastes, and what I like to eat. But she quickly realized that it wasn't, that she wasn't the only one, and that Tinder users were excessively willing to disclose information without realizing it. And I think online dating, Facebook is definitely one area. There's no doubt about it. People share every little detail about their lives. But online dating, it's another one, because a lot of them have location services that people willingly give to get kind of local matches. There are questions on online dating services that pertain to every part of you as an individual, from your likes, your dislikes, your hobbies, your food, your music, your movies, just about everything that can be mined, compiled, and sold very readily to any number of advertising agencies. So online dating is particularly guilty of this. So she said that she read through the 1,700 Tinder messages that she's sent since 2013, and took a trip through my hopes, fears, and sexual preferences and deepest secrets. And they said that, yeah, all of her conversations were categorized right under her name that she's ever had. And yeah, can't really go too much further. It's about done. But suffice to say that online dating is one area, but any social media of any kind where you connect with other people, and especially connecting with new people, where they try to cater your matches to similar likes and interests. If you submit those likes and interests, which is kind of a prerequisite for using the service, yeah, you're giving that away to these organizations, these companies that are more than willing to compile it and sell it on your behalf. So there you have it. Be careful, be alert, be aware. Don't let cryptocurrencies be mined on your browser. Everyone, I hope you are having a great day and you enjoyed Computer America. Tune in tomorrow on the program, as we have, let me check here. We have someone good. Yeah. Scott Schober, of course, joining us once again tomorrow to, he's the author of Hacked Again, cybersecurity expert, and of course, Berkeley Veritronic Systems. So with all that said, why don't we, everyone join us here tomorrow, Scott Schober, and tune in next time for more Computer America. So, until then, everyone, have a great day. Thank you so much. And, yeah, thanks for listening to Computer America. See you then. Bye-bye.